about Lance because, like I said, Thursday, I'm going to have his quarterback coach on the show. I'm very excited about that. Lance is the guy that I want it to be. The Traveler just said Lance better be the pick. What are your thoughts on Trey Lance?
I think actually, this might surprise even you, Jesse.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't have Lance rated as my worst quarterback out of the 4, but I think he's the least likely to get taken out of the 4 to me.
Okay.
And it's for a lot of reasons.
That's fair.
Yeah. And let's just get into it. He had 310 pass attempts in college and 17 starts. Even when you compare him to Mac Jones, who I'm just bringing this up right now, Mac Jones played in 24 games, right? 7 more. He has like 560 pass attempts. So there's a huge difference when you understand what Trey Lance is doing and the fact that he didn't throw that much in college. And even if you look at some of his highest pass attempt game, I think the most attempts he ever had in college was 23 pass attempts. Mm-hmm. That worries me a whole lot just to begin with.
Yeah.
And then, I do want to be positive with him. He's a really toolsy prospect, right? He has all these like elite traits you go and you look for in quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And he really is a great athlete and he could transform the Niners running game. I think, if you're taking him, Shanahan's got to have all the belief in the world that running that he has, the power he has, that's going to change the game completely for him. And it's going to make defenses go, on their heels like we see when the Niners play the Kyler Murrays of the world, the Russell Wilsons of the world, right? So I think, if you're taking him, it's for that reason. But if Jimmy is the only other quote-unquote starting level quarterback on this team, Trey Lance is a no-go for me because we know Jimmy's going to get hurt. He's not going to last, more than 6-7 games? I mean, literally, I think if you put a Vegas over-under, it would be 6.5 games for him. So, to me, I wouldn't want to take Trey Lance because you're going to have to play him early on. And like we listened to Kyle in that press conference and just everything the 49ers were saying, they're trying to win now. And to me, they're not trying to win 3 years from now, which is when Trey Lance, at best, I think, would be that guy. And he could play in year 2, but he won't be refined at that point in his career. And yes, I know people are going to point to, oh, he played under center, all this other stuff, and oh, he can do this with Kyle and that with Kyle. But man, he's playing at North Dakota State where they are where it's at a lower level of play, right? But then even at the lower level of play, they are the best team by far. They're
the Alabama. They are the Alabama.
They're better than the Alabama there. I mean, literally, it's no joke what North Dakota State is doing. Right. There's a reason that they got Carson Wentz taken so high, and now Trey Lance is going to be taken so high. And I think even the tackle from that team is going to be taken in the first couple of days of this draft. So, to me, you have to take all that into consideration. And he's just the biggest boom or bust prospect to me, even compared to Justin Fields. I think with Justin Fields, there's a much higher floor. So for those reasons, I just don't think he's the 49ers type of guy. And I think the scouts might like him for this reason, that reason, all this different stuff. But ultimately, when you logistically try and work it out, it just doesn't make enough sense for me for them to take him. So that's what I struggle with.
Yeah, so I'm going to throw out a couple things. I'll throw out one thing that was said at the press conference and then kind of get into it. Kyle was pressed about the situation with Jimmy G, and he said, well, basically, the reason that we're keeping Jimmy is because we're not looking at just this year. Like, we're looking at the future as well. Well, that tells me that whoever they take, they realize that all of these guys are pretty inexperienced, and most likely they will need to sit, maybe even for a full year. So for me, that gives me a little bit of excitement that, okay, well, maybe Lance could be the guy because they know that whoever it is probably going to have to sit. Okay, so here's what I will say. I think when we think of a guy that can take over the team immediately, we all go to Mac Jones. Like, hey, Mac Jones is the guy now. He can take over the team immediately. He may not be the best in the long run, but we're ready to win now. We're all in now. We've got a 2-year window here. Let's let Mac take the reins and run with it. Well, let's be honest. Mac and Lance, as far as games played, they're right neck and neck. It's not like Mac – yes, Mac played this year, but it's not like Mac has all this experience that Lance doesn't. Let's also take it another step. If we look at just a pure pocket passer, pure pocket passers actually struggle very early in the NFL. And I know that we like to think, well, hey, this guy has command of the offense, which is one of the things that I really do like about Mac Jones is he has command of the offense. But with that said, it's the running quarterbacks that actually do pretty well early because you can design a lot of plays that throw the defense off. Now, they're going to have to progress very quickly when it comes to throwing the ball the second year because teams will catch up with them. But you look at the way that these running backs come into the NFL, they light it on fire early because teams don't know how to deal with them. And if you look at this running game with Shanahan, to your point, you add in that extra element of Lance being able to take off. And by the way, much like Justin Fields, he may not be as fast, but Buddy is huge and he's built to take hits. Like, he will be just fine taking a few hits at the next level. So I feel like Lance actually early could do very, very well, despite the fact that he didn't play last year and he hasn't played a lot of games because, and we'll say it over and over because everybody's a perfect fit with Shanahan, right? Like there's not a quarterback that wouldn't do great with Shanahan. But again, I really do trust Shanahan to drop the right plays to keep him safe. Look at what they did with RG3. I mean, RG3 was, don't get me wrong, RG3 had more games under his belt. And he was a pretty dang good passer when he came into the NFL. But with that said, he did a fantastic job of drawing up a game plan for him. So if they are going back and forth between, let's say, a Fields and a Lance, and they take either one, I feel like those plays are already being worked on, just to be honest with you. So that's my thing with Lance. I think you're kind of right. I don't know if they want to go Lance, but I would love to have Lance. All right, let's move on to the next one.